Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we have player props here for you guys on a Tuesday night. 6 games to choose from. We've also got a couple game videos up for you, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page and continue to follow along with us. Also head to thelines.com. Check out everything we're putting up there, including these player props and a bunch more as we continue to dive into March Madness. Also have our odds finder tool up there. You can make sure you're getting the best odds available to you on all these bets you're making in the NBA this season, as Nate and I are doing every morning with these player props. Nate, let's go ahead and jump right into your first one, Mr. Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, Russ Westbrook with a rare 0 turnover game in a win against the Warriors. It seemed to get him back in the good graces of Ty Lue, who then gave him 35 minutes in his next 2 outings. And he nicely went for 10 turnovers in those 2, but also put up some peripheral stats, 17 rebounds, 19 assists. And I just looking at 12.5 rebounds, assists at bad odds, or 13.5 at good odds, as just being crazy low for Russell Westbrook. It's like there's only way he's going under that is if he plays probably less than 27 minutes tonight. I think he's going to get a good amount of run against OKC. You have seen him spike against OKC, the team that, of course, drafted him. He spent most of his career there, in 9 since leaving. He does have 4 triple-doubles, 1 with Houston, 2 with Washington, 1 with the Lakers, actually, and hit 27 points twice with the Lakers, including the latest one off the bench in just 28 minutes with AD and LeBron playing. He has better splits at home. Obviously, it's the same home arena now that he's with the Clippers. Better splits not being good splits, but being better. So maybe he can score double-digit points. Just throwing that out there because it's plus 1,200 for triple-double. Or plus 225 for double-double, which I think he could definitely hit rebounds or assists double digits here. OKC actually giving up the 6th most boards, 4th most assists overall in their last 6 games here. Also, I will say in his last 4 against OKC, Russ has 25 turnovers as he continues to press and force the issue when he was with the Lakers there. And you're getting plus 110 for him to commit 4 turnovers tonight, which again comes with the territory. If he plays 30 plus minutes, that's probably going to happen. But that's only if you're drinking Haterade. Otherwise, I think you want the peripheral stats for a guy who's in his last 3 here is averaging 17 peripherals, and the prop is 5 lower than that against OKC. So go for it.
I mean, yeah, Haterade or not, like it's more likely that he's getting turnovers if he's got minutes. And if he's getting minutes, I think he's going to get minutes against OKC. But it's funny you say that because I noticed he wasn't playing much of the fourth quarters. And then that game against Golden State happened. And then he played the bunch of the fourth quarters the last couple games, even though one of them was when they pretty much had the game in hand in the fourth. And you saw Kawhi and PG sit and then Russ really play the rest of the game for them. So we'll see how that works out tonight. OKC, don't sleep. Like, this team is nice right now. Jalen Williams is their second best player, the rook, and they're playing super well. So there's going to be opportunity. It's going to be a game either way, and there's going to, if Russ gets the minutes, then I like all the stats for him as well for sure. So let's go on to Mr. Jayson Tatum and his points and assist prop. You can also talk about his 3-pointers, but 33.5 points and assists or over 3.5 threes. That gets you plus 128 on FanDuel. Good find by Nate there using that odds finder tool. And it's a Kings Celtics game in Sacramento. There's got to be some points. Tatum playing well against that team in his last 3 versus Sac. 33 points a game, 6 boards, 5 assists, 144 individual offensive rating. And for that 3-pointer prop, he's hitting more than 5 threes at 53% clip in those last 3 versus Sac. Not a defensive prowess, or known for their defensive prowess, are the Sacramento Kings. He has been a little bit of a slump on his last 7 roadies, including this road trip they're on right now. 23 points a game with 10 boards and about 5.5 assists in that time. Not shooting very well, 38 from the floor and then 24% from deep, making just 2.5 threes on about 10 attempts right now. So obviously a pretty bad percentage for him, but 6 assists in 9 of his last 11 roadies, where he's been diming up a bit more. more as well. And Sack is allowing the fourth most points per game and the second most assists per game to small forwards. I think we expect Tatum to be able to play in a small forward role tonight, especially if Rob Will is getting, let's say 20-ish minutes if he is able to return. And then Sack playing on a back-to-back. We know how bad they are on defense, but just how much they care about scoring more than anything on those back-to-backs and no rest. A little bit skewed by that Clippers game that they played on a back-to-back, historically scoring a ton of points and giving up a ton, but they are still allowing a ton of points at home because that's where they're scoring. And a league-high 29 assists per game that they're allowing as well since the All-Star break. So I think you throw the assists in there for Tatum, as correctly mentioned in here, that he's diming up on the road a lot. But the points don't scare you either because there's going to be a ton to get, and both these teams are hitting threes and giving up threes at a super high clip.
And the assist is good for him getting this prop. It's also good for him hitting threes because, as mentioned, Zach Lowe in the pod with Scalabrini, he's shooting 28% on pull-up threes right now. If the Celtics are moving the ball and getting him a catch-and-shoot three, he's going to shoot closer to 40%. And he's also going to drive and attack closeouts and roast whoever's on him on the Kings as he's done. Look, averaging 33 against this team, averaging 30 on the season in general. And we're talking about a few more assists for a guy who's also averaging a career high 5.5 assists per game, wherever he is. And recently on the road, those have been there. So I think this is a great buy low spot after he slumped a little bit coming into this one. I'm actually going to sell high on this other guy, Brad Beal, who's been hot lately and especially spiked without Kyle Kuzma, who's ruled out tonight at Orlando. But it's at Orlando, and that definitely could spell a pretty ugly physical game. Beal has not performed well against Orlando, 21 points in his last 3 against them, despite shooting 46% from the field and 56% from downtown. So he's also got pretty unsustainably high shooting splits, I think, in his last 4 without Kuzma. That's why he's averaging 30 points per game in those. His prop is at 26.5, and they're tempting you to go under here, minus 105 at DK. I think you could tack on 6 assists as well if you want a little bit more safety. He's averaging about 5 assists right now in his last 6 and 5 in his last 14 roadies. Also only 22 points in those ones. And you look at kind of the different defenses he's played. Like he lit up Atlanta. We had that in props. And Detroit, he absolutely destroyed Detroit, which is a G League team. But Chicago, Philly, and Cleveland held him to 17.7 points and under 6 assists on some rough shooting. Those are good defenses. Orlando's allowing the 6th fewest points to shooting guards in their last 30 games. And they held Devin Booker, the shooting god, to 19 points. He has at least 28 in every other game in March. That's 8 other games, including games with KD. He scores at will, and to hold him to 19 is really impressive compared to Beal.
Yeah, no, for sure. Shout out this Orlando team for continuing to play defense down the stretch and continuing to try, really, with a bunch of young guys who, don't necessarily have much to play for at this point, but are definitely continuing to bring the effort. And I think that's going to be the case tonight as well at home. They've actually been scored. There's been a bunch more points scored in Orlando than on the road, but that's also in part because of their inability to score in general on the road. So I still think that they're going to be able to put some clamps on Beal. And Kuz, is basically they're the player with the best net rating and the best on-off stuff for them. So as he goes, this team goes a little bit as well. He's been super important for them. Their offense should be stymied a little bit with that fact as well. And then finishing things off here with a guy we've talked about a couple of times this season, Nate, Killian Hayes. We've gone under a couple of times. We've gone over as well. And we're going to go over in this one at 13.5 points. That's even money on DraftKings. I would say the points, rebounds, and assists, especially with the way the youngster has been diming up over the course of the last week or two, 23.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Killian Hayes, over on that as well. In his last 5, you're looking at 14 points a game, 3 boards, and then the 10 assists. He's also getting about 4.5, 5 turnovers, which whatever, we're fine with that. 25% usage in that time frame with a really bad offensive rating and not very good plus minus either, whatever you want to do with that. But this is once an Atlanta team that you talked about a second ago briefly by just saying you can go ahead and fade their defense and take some props against them. Last time he played them, he got 31 minutes, which is what we're hoping for here, continuing to get the 35 he's been getting, and 17 points, 5 boards, 5 assists against Atlanta just a couple months ago. And I think there's another opportunity for him in this situation if he's going to be getting those minutes. As we kind of talk about the per 36 in those situations, he's looking at 13 points and about 8 assists, and then about 4 boards in there as well. Gets you right about 25 points, rebounds, and assists for the kids. So look, we talk about fading Atlanta. Since the All-Star break, they've got the 4th worst defensive rating in the league, and they are allowing the 4th most assists per game to their opponent, which is what we're banking on for Killian tonight. They're allowing the 3rd most points. They are 3rd in pace, and teams are just getting whatever they want in their bottom 10 in terms of allowing effective field goal percentage and all that kind of stuff. So I think Killian Hayes to get some dimes, to score some points tonight, a few boards. If he gets the 3 to 4 rebounds, right, and the 8 assists, I think we feel pretty good about him finishing off this prop for us.
I mean, you got to think about the mentality for Detroit here. I mean, he's horrendous efficiency stats, 93 offensive rating. He's a minus 57 and has 4.5 turnovers, which is like golf clap. Good job. Keep us losing, baby. Jaden Ivey has come back from, I think he had COVID. He was out with protocols, and he's really just taken a back seat as kind of their more efficient playmaker. And they're just like, whatever, Jaden, like you can play. Just go out there. So between Killian Hayes and Rodney Magruder, who I do not see props up yet for because he is such a fringe star, but he's been lighting it up lately. I would be all over his props when those do come up, all over him in DFS here tonight as just a total go out there and make a name for yourself, Rodney, because we have no interest in winning these games. And Atlanta has no interest in playing defense. So you can definitely get numbers against this team.
Poor Rodney Magruder catching stray. Shout out K-State. Shout out Rodney Magruder and this Pistons team that tanks as well as anybody. And that is all the time we have for you in this one. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along and check out those other couple videos we have up for you today. Until we see you next, happy betting.